Eric Shell has changed the Super Eagles in two major ways. Tactically, by giving the team a clearer structure, stronger pressing identity, and more coordinated attack patterns. Psychologically and personally, by rebuilding accountability, confidence, and collective belief among players who previously looked disconnected and emotionally flat. Now, this transformation is still evolving, but there are already obvious patterns in how the Super Eagles behave. Before Eric Shell came, Nigeria looked like a team of just elite individuals rather than a synchronized unit. They relied too much on moments of brilliance, and the midfield structure was just disconnected. Attackers were often isolated from midfields, and there was confusion in the build-up play, leading to us conceding goals. Now that Eric Shell is here, one of the clearest tactical changes is the pressing game. Eric Shell wants Nigeria to press aggressively, force opponents into rush passes, and recover the ball high up the pitch. This is where our physical strikers thrive. When Eric Shell first came in, he made sure that his players were fit. In every camp training session, you could see the players doing box-to-box runs, running from one box to the other box in under 30 seconds. This made the players more fit, even late in the game. Even Eric Shell himself admitted that the squad initially struggled physically with the intensity of his pressing style. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the structure that Eric Shell has brought to this chaotic side. Historically, Nigeria often played emotionally. Quick vertical attacks, individual dribbling, transition-heavy football. But now, Eric Shell has produced more positional organization. Instead of everyone attacking everywhere, players now occupy clearer zones. The team now rotates between 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2 diamond, and at times 3-2-5 attacking. This may be his biggest improvement. For years, Nigeria had talented midfielders, but there was poor midfield cohesion. The midfields often became stretched, bypassed, and disconnected from the attack. Eric Shell's teams now try to keep shorter passing distances, create triangles and build-up, and maintain central compactness. Players like Alex Iwobi have clearer responsibilities because Eric Shell gives him more freedom. We saw this in AFCON when Iwobi would connect the midfield to the attack. Under previous managers, Iwobi looked tactically homeless, but now under Eric Shell, he's central to the team. Victor Osimhen is our biggest problem, and Eric Shell fixed it. Now, you guys might be scratching your heads when I say this, but the fact of the matter is that Victor Osimhen is so good that he becomes a double-edged sword. When we have him, we're flying, but when we don't have him, we're dying. This was clear in the World Cup qualifier against DR Congo. As soon as Osimhen got injured and had to step off the field, it was like our opponents weren't scared of us anymore. Now in Eric Shell's squad, we don't build around Osimhen. Everybody is capable of playing well, even when he's not there. Instead of asking Osimhen to do everything alone, Eric Shell builds mechanisms around his strengths. But enough said about our strikers. Let's talk about our wings. After all, what are the Super Eagles without their wings? Nigeria now attacks more intelligently. Under Shell, fullbacks overlap more deliberately. Wingers invert at the right moments. As you can see here, Iwobi drops deeper. Chukwueze comes deep into the midfield, and Lookman is always there to turn with the ball. He's agile, technical, and versatile. This movement creates cutback opportunities, second ball dominance, and positional confusion for opponents. This makes Nigeria more possessive against African sides. And in football, being possessive is very, very important. Another major change is that Nigeria defends more as a unit. Look at how the center backs are marking the striker and the midfield is moving in unison. Before, the midfield gaps were huge and defenders got exposed. Now there's synchronized pressing and defensive rest positions. This means that when Nigeria attacks, players are already positioned to stop the counterattacks. This is a hallmark of modern football. We see this style of play adopted by some of the biggest clubs in Europe, and now Nigeria finally adopts this. Defense needs to be done always as a unit. One underrated quality is that Eric Shell adapts. He's not dogmatic. He has already shown willingness to change shape mid-game, switch midfield structures, and adjust the pressing height. For example, In AFCON, he was willing to change his systems, especially when there was fatigue among his players. This flexibility is important in African football because the pitches can vary, the climates can vary, squad availability changes constantly, and preparation time is limited. I remember when Rafa Onyedika was injured. At first, Nigeria struggled in the defense and in the midfield, but Eric Shell soon adapted. And we see constant examples of this throughout his tenure with the Super Eagles. His emotional and personal impact on players is arguably just as important as the tactics. Eric Shell seems to have improved player trust, emotional accountability, tactical clarity, and psychological commitment. Players often perform badly when they don't understand their roles and don't really have chemistry with other players in the squad. And I believe I speak for everyone when I say that this Super Eagles squad has some of the greatest chemistry we've seen in a long time. This is because the players understand that everyone on the team deserves a spot, and everyone on the team is a high-level player. This brings me to my next point. Eric Shell treats players like tactical adults. You see many African national teams suffer from overly authoritative coaching, but Eric Shell, he seems different. From player comments and observed behavior, he communicates his ideas directly. He explains the tactical logic. He involves the players in the system. And he demands intelligence, not just effort. Eric Shell's experience in France and with Mali will likely help him develop this approach. And this matters enormously for elite European-based players. Modern professionals want tactical detail, role clarity, trust, and emotional honesty. Another thing is that the standards have increased. There's another competitive edge in the team. He increased internal competition. Now no players seem completely untouchable. Nobody can just keep their spot because they play for a big club. This creates accountability, intensity in training, tactical discipline. Now, players seem more tactically fit. They work harder, they press harder, and they're more positionally intelligent. Now, this may sound simple, but Nigeria looks coached again. Under Eric Shell, you can actually identify the pressing triggers and the build-up pattern. This Super Eagles squad resembles a modern tactical project, rather than just an improvised collection of stars. They focus on build-up patterns, spacing concepts, transition structures, and main of all, defensive principles. However, some problems still exist. Midfield creativity under pressure, over-reliance on Victor Osimhen, and maintaining intensity for 90 minutes. Not to mention, some critics also feel that his aggressive setups can leave Nigeria exposed against elite transition teams. So, for the record, this project and these tactics still have their risks. But it's safe to say that Eric Shell's transformation of the Super Eagles turned Nigeria from a reactive, talent-heavy side into a proactive, structurally organized modern team. Eric Shell's core principles are aggressive pressing, compactness in defense and in the midfield, tactical flexibility, and collective movement, also coupled with emotional accountability and structured attacking football. But perhaps his biggest achievement is psychological. He has made many Nigerians look like they belong to one coherent football idea again. That emotional unity, combined with tactical clarity, is why many observers feel the Super Eagles play with more purpose under him.